All right, guys, it's that time of month. The numbers are in. What's the housing market going to look like here in the Central Maine area as we head into the month of November? Stick around. We're going to break down the numbers today. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is your realtor Nick Isgro with eXp Realty here in Central Maine. As you know, on this channel we cover all things real estate here in the state of Maine, particularly in the Central Maine market. If that is of interest to you, please do give this video a like, give us a subscribe, knock that alarm bell, and you will be notified every time we put out new content. Now, if you remember from last month, as we headed into the fall market, what we saw was a little bit of a dip in the number of new listings coming to market, but an overall increase in the active listings as homes on the market here in the Central Maine area started to take a little bit more time sitting on the market. If you remember, prices remained strong. We had about 2 months worth of supply. What's happening now that we've completed the month of October and are hitting this late stage, late fall, headed into the winter market? Let's jump right into the overall active listings. We want to take a look at what is our current supply here in the market. 343 listings was what we ended the month of September with. Now that we've ended October, 311 listings. So we see an overall decrease in the overall supply for the buyers that are out there. What is going on? Let's take a look at that. First, let's take a look at the sold listings in the month of September. We sold roughly 202 homes in the month of September here in the Central Maine market. A little bit of a dip from last month where we sold 225 listings, but really not a dramatic decrease. And holding strong over last year where we ended the month of October selling about 178, but roughly in line. I mean, if you see, a little bit more than 200, a little bit less than 200 last year, coming in right in somewhat of a sweet spot, not a huge change. So let's hop over to another statistic to see if we can find out what is driving this decrease in inventory. Here it is, guys. New listings coming to the market in the month of October, 160 listings. That's over 40 less new listings than the month before. And that is where we're seeing that squeeze in the market. We're seeing that tightening of the overall inventory as we saw at the beginning with the overall active listings. They're simply, sellers are not bringing their homes to market. What's driving that? Really hard to say right now. Not a huge change if you look at a seasonal trend, but month over month it is a big change. Just to give you an idea, if you're wondering what happened last October 2020, we had over 200 new listings. So really it is a dip not only month over month, but it is a dip year over year too. Now, it is the time where less people start listing their homes, but if you want to know what's happening to supply, it is tightening as we head into this market. So even though we're coming to the late stage fall, opportunities for buyers are starting to tighten, or at least that's what happened over the last month. What happens over the coming month, hard to say, but if we're going by seasonal trends, we can imagine it might tighten a little bit more as we head into the winter months. You can really get a good sense of the supply when we look at the absorption rate. Now, I say this every month, but for those of you who are new, the absorption rate is essentially how many months of supply of homes we have on the market. So if I have no new listings coming on, there's no new sellers coming to the market, but all of the buyers out there buy everything that we have, how long does it take to do that? Last month we had about 2 months of supply of homes on the market. This month we dipped a little bit lower, even 1.88, a little bit less than 2 months of supply in the market. So that's where a good statistic we can use if you want to see that squeeze of overall inventory. Now, to give you an idea, what does that mean? A normalized market will have about 6 months worth of home inventory on the market. So that's, all of these backed up buyers out there, there's plenty of homes, people are taking their time, they're going through, they're buying them, and new homes are continuing to come into the market. We're seeing here clearly a pretty big dip in the tightening of inventory. Now, is this getting scary for buyers? I don't think so. If you look at last July, we were at 1.86, so almost exactly where we are now as far as months worth of inventory on the market. That's where we were in July. We had even less last June, only 1.5 months of supply. So it's really not a big change when it comes to the overall market conditions we've been in for the last year, year and a half. It's just a big change from last month when you're looking at that. And again, not to be alarmist, it really is a seasonal trend. I'm expecting that the inventory could tighten a little bit even more as we head into the winter months and sellers start deciding that they're going to stay put through the holidays and at least get past the new year. All right, now let's take a look at the average days on market. So this is the average time that homes, new listings, from the day they come on the market to the day they go into escrow, how long is that taking in this market here in the Central Maine market? Roughly 23 days. Now, there is a little bit of an increase. Last month, we saw an average market time of 20 days. We saw a tightening with the increase in sales. We're not seeing that. We're seeing a little bit of an increase. Now, to give you an idea of what this is year over year, last October, homes were sitting on the market in Central Maine for an average of about 34 days on market. So sales are healthy, people are still out there, the buyers are hungry, they're buying the homes. Even though things are sitting longer than a few weeks maybe, it's really not taking that long to get your home sold in most areas, most conditions. Caveat being, if you're in certain specific niche markets, it might take a little bit longer or it might be a little bit shorter depending on the home and the circumstance. All right, guys, now I want to jump into something that I think is one of the most interesting things that we can look at right now, because all of you buyers out there that are backlogged, you're talking to me, you're sending me messages, you're calling me on the phone, and a lot of the discussions we're having are around the pricing on homes and where the opportunities might be for you. Now, we've just gone over. We have a healthy sales market, we have a tightening inventory. Those indicators would tell us that prices should be remaining sky high. And while pricing is remaining strong and we actually expect it to increase into the spring and summer market of next year, what's happening now? Sale to price ratio, meaning how much money are sellers getting compared to the list price that they're listing for their home. It's been roughly around 100%. Last month it dropped to about 99%. This month, 98%. Doesn't mean that a lot's happening. Could be that homes are certainly being priced a little bit more reasonably by the partnership between realtors and the homeowners. And there could mean that there's some kind of leveling off going on, but it also could just mean that buyers are starting to work with sellers a little bit more as sellers are wanting to move on and get things wrapped up as they head into the holidays. So there are definitely opportunities out there to offer a little bit less than the homes are listed for. It's not like we saw last summer where people were offering 102%, if you remember back in July and August, where almost every deal on average was closing at above the list price. Now we're finally back in that comfortable place where people are offering slightly below list price and sellers are making the deals and moving on. All right, guys, that's kind of a wrap on this month's information. We have tight inventory, healthy pricing, everything seems to be seasonably adjusting well as the market remains strong, and we are seeing some new opportunities for buyers. Now, if you are a seller or a buyer in the market out there right now, I would love to hear from you. Or if you're thinking about buying or selling right now, go ahead and drop a comment below and feel free to ask any questions or engage in this conversation. If you are in the market, would love to hear if your experience reflects some of these numbers that we've been going over today. As always, I am so thankful for all of you who have watched this video and have supported this channel. Thanks so much for sticking around, and I will see you next time.